So there's an order of preference here. There's an order of how it should be done. First, you should kasha the vessel, then you toivel it. I'm sorry. Yeah. You first kasha, then you toivel it. Then if you reverse the order and you first toivel it before it was a kosher vessel, some say you have to re-toivel it, and some say you do not have to re-toivel it. And therefore, when you have such a situation where you have two opinions and you have a doubt, therefore, one should toivel it again without a bracha. Whenever you have a doubt, we leave it out. It's a general rule when it comes to a bracha. When we have a doubt whether or not we should make the bracha, we don't make the bracha. Safek bracha lahaka. Birchas haTevila, the bracha of the Tevila itself. Lefnei Tevilas Kelim. Even when we're taking a glass vessel, which is only rabbinic in nature, that's in the singular form. If someone's tabling more than one vessel, meaning two or three, etc., you sign then then you end the bracha. Instead of saying al Tevilas Keli, say al Tevilas Kelim, which is the plural. If somebody mixed up the order, they made a bracha on many vessels. They said al Tevilas Keli. Or in one vessel they said on many vessels. They're still yoytze. And if somebody made the tvila without making the bracha, then you don't make the bracha anymore. Okay? We're now on the bottom of page Kufches. If somebody tables a vessel because there's a doubt whether or not it needs tevila or not, so you don't make a bracha kisafik bracha sohaka, because whenever we have a doubt with a bracha, we'll go the lenient route. It's proper, if possible, it's better if you can wait before tailing the vessel where there's a doubt. Wait for there to come along a vessel that does need tevila for sure, and toivel both them together, and you're making the bracha on the vessel that needs tevila for sure, and have in mind also for the other vessel. Then you would make the bracha al Tevilas Kelim, because to be able to generate the name of Hashem, you already have the ability, because you have a vessel that needs to be toiveled for sure with a bracha. And since you're already allowed to say Hashem's name, you can say al Tevilas Kelim. If you have to tell it right away, because let's say you need to use it right away, you say the bracha tefillah without Hashem's name. You should think of Hashem's name in your heart and not actually utter it in your mouth. Tevilah b'lei kavana. Tevilas Kelim ain't a tzricha kavana. We're now on the top of page Kuftes. The Tevilas Kelim itself does not need kavana. Does not even need the power of a human being. Lachain im nafal kli me'atzmei v'teich hamikvah, a vessel fell in by itself into a mikvah in zerchut tefillah shenis. Doesn't need a tefillah ches, and doesn't need another tefillah. Ach hifsid is brichas tefillah, but one lost the opportunity to make the bracha. Kein levarach achar shekvar nasa mitzvah, because one does not make a bracha after the mitzvah is already done. Tvila idei cotton, toiveling through a child. Ein ma'aminim cotton uktan al Tevilas Kelim. A child, a boy or a girl, are not entrusted with Tevilas Kelim. Ki Tevilas Kelim hi min ha'Torah. The Tevilas Kelim is min ha'Torah. Vein cotton ne'eman al davar shu min ha'Torah, and a child is not believed on something that's min ha'Torah. Ach in godel emin alav, if there's an adult standing above them, over them, and seeing how a child tevels, then it's permissible for the cotton to tevel, and then the child would make the bracha of the tefillah. Any questions so far? So we have a klal here. A child does not believe on something that's min haTorah. Many poskim hold that Tevilas Kelim is min haTorah. That's why a child cannot be entrusted to do Tevilas Kelim under bar bas mitzvah. That's called a child, right? But if you have an adult, someone who's over bar bas mitzvah, standing and watching them, they can do the act. They can actually do the Tevilah, because you have the person who's an adult over bar bas mitzvah who's assuring that it was done properly. Tevilah di nachri, the tevilah through a non-Jew, kishem shein hakot ne'eman tevilah, just like a non-Jew is not, just like a child is not believed on the tevilah. Kol shkein shein nachri ne'eman. Certainly, a non-Jew is not entrusted with tevilah. Al kein chanus sheish lo mikvah tevilas kelim, a store. Let's say, for example, you have a hardware store. They have a mikvah built in. Bashkachas Rav HaMachshir, that has the hechsher of Rav HaMachshir, shem lekein inlit by kelim. If it didn't have a hechsher, one should not tevel kelim there. Ein lahaniach lepayaleh hanachrim shit belos hakelim. One should not give over the task of teveling the vessels to a non-Jewish workers. Elim kein Yehudi eimed v'reya ich tevel hanach. Unless a Jew is watching to see how the tefillah is being done by the non-Jew. Ach kam ze ein nachem lechatchila. Even that is not a proper choice, from the onset. Why? Kivin sheyaf says birchas on mitzvah, because then a person is going to forfeit the opportunity to make the bracha on the mitzvah, because the non-Jew is the one who's doing everything. Because he can't make the bracha if the non-Jew is doing the tefillah. Therefore, what should you do? If you have many vessels to tovel, let's say I have 10 vessels that have to be toveled. I table the first one and I make the bracha Tevilas Kelim, and then the non-Jew can finish off the work because I already made the bracha and I'm watching them. It's okay. Okay, now the next halacha gets into electric vessels. This is a spiel that I give every year, so I have to make sure that I remain consistent. Jewish people defy nature. We're higher than nature. It says, by the way, it says, Koisis Shuis Esa, Koisis Gematria Hateva. This is the part from the Rebbe on the Haggadah. Koisis Gematria Hateva, which is the same numerical value as Elikim. By Behisha Amda, when we're saying that Hashem, throughout the generations, they try to destroy us, and Hashem saves us from their hand every time. So we lift up the cup. So the Rebbe says we lift up the cup because cup represents nature. It's Elikim and it's Hateva. And lifting it up shows that Jewish people are higher than nature, or above nature. So I'm just applying the same concept here. It's when you buy these electric urns, there's a special sticker that says, warning, do not immerse in water. If you do, it can risk all kinds of tropical things. Who knows what? You do all kinds of warnings. But the Jewish people do it anyways. And they let it sit for 3 days and drying out in the sun, turn upside down, and it works fine. That's if it doesn't have an electronic motherboard. If it has an electronic motherboard, it won't survive the trip. The kli chashmal yisarch kamkin tevilah. An electric vessel needs tevilah after chayshel the kilkol akliyim efetzem l'mayim. Even though you're worried about the vessel getting ruined if it's going to go into the water, most poskim say you can't use it without tevilah, without tevilah. Yeah. Yeah, let me just finish this and we'll get to that. If you can just hold the question. Okay. However, if we don't actually put the food directly on this particular vessel, but rather through another vessel, then it wouldn't need tevilah. Only the vessel that touches the food needs tevilah. Therefore, a toaster oven, if you can remove the tray that you actually bake on, or you toast the bread on, or you warm up your pizza or lasagna, whatever it is, yes, you just have to table the tray. The rest of the oven it's not designed to touch the food, does not require tevilah. Similar to this would be a hot plate on Shabbos. Does not need tevilah because we don't put the food directly on the hot plate itself. A metal pot that you take out the inner pot, say for example a crock pot. The crock pot's not such a good example because the inner part is like made out of earthenware. But if it would be made out of metal, you only have to table the vessel that's the inner vessel, the one that's touching the food. Without, if it's made from parson, without a bracha, because we're worried about the glaze. But the actual outer casing that has all the heating mechanisms would not need tevila. Yes, your question?
Since it doesn't touch food, I'm assuming it's probably fine. But you know those like electric camp burners, like those like travel ones?
Yeah.
That you can just like plug in? They break very easily. They also don't necessarily touch the food. Like you're putting a pot on top. I'm assuming those probably.
There's only tevila because you're putting the pot directly on top of it. Yes, correct. And if something, yes.
What about electric kettles?
For example, a plug-in kettle that boils water.
Yeah.
So you unplug, you take the plug out, and you just immerse the pot itself. The area where the plug goes, the receptacle for the plug, you just dry it out. Should be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those generally survive. Those generally they fare pretty well. But when you have these fancier type of machines that are really a computer chip and a computer motherboard with a whole, those things you cannot table because they're going to get ruined. So those, there are two ways to handle that. He's going to speak about it in Halacha Nun Vav. Yeah. Okay, so let's wait till then, but he does give an eitzah for that. But if the food does touch the vessel, then the whole vessel has to go in the water. If we're concerned about the vessel getting ruined, if we're going in the water, you can take a rag, dip it into the mikveh, and like put it in slow, like softly into the hole where the receptacle for the plug is on these things. And one way would be one way would be to put your hand in the mikveh water, and then while your hand's in the mikveh water, you cover the hole for the receptacle of the plug, so it's going to get because that's don't stick it in tight, just cover it kind of softly. Put a rag that you table in on the mikveh in order that, but don't stick it in too tight. If you cannot do these two things, some say you can actually put something on the hole to stop the water from going into the whole area. A vessel you cannot table in these fashions, don't buy. Buy in the common, buy in the Holland, excuse me, the Sifnan Vav. Sifnan Vav, the last sif of this particular subject, will discuss that scenario. Alkein Meicha Mayim Chashmali, a hot water pot, the hot water urn, Machmas Chashmalis, or a metal pot. Kli Chashmali, Shefen Bay Waffle, let's say a waffle maker. Kli is a popcorn or popcorn machine, Kun Tzricham Tvila Bebracha, but Klal in Kelim Eilim Zekim Tvila. Generally speaking, these vessels don't get ruined in the Tvila, but Mayim Hamachas, Mamtinim is Bayom Machi is Nagbayafa. If you wait a few days, usually 3 days for them to dry out properly and effectively. By the way, when it comes to a waffle maker, or a panini maker, there's another eitzah. And this is one of my favorites. I call it like a kosher hack. You can buy waffle makers or panini makers that have removable plates. The plates click in and out. First of all, it's clean, it's convenient because you can clean them more easily. But from a kashrus perspective, regarding the laws of Tevilas Kelim, it's much easier. You don't have to immerse the entire machine in the water. You just remove the plates and you just immerse the plates. The plates are just plain metal. It's much better to buy that. If you buy one that the plates are built into the machine, you have to immerse the whole machine, then you have to worry, etc. So to avoid that issue, you can buy the one with removable plates. Yesh mi shematir. There are two kinds of toasters, by the way. There's the most common kind of toaster is the one that we have. Most of us have. It's like a mini oven, basically, right? There's a little tray. We put the food inside, and we toast it or bake it, whatever we want to do. But then they also have the vertical toasters, the old-fashioned ones. You put in 2 slices of bread, press down the button. There's a casing that's holding the bread, and then there's coils and it heats it, etc. So yek mi shemat l'shtamesh b'toaster It's on in please say some tzvina melecha and complete tefillah to use it without tefillah. Kilei nechshak. That's not called klei suda. Heyois sheichol nechlos alechem afshin nizan. Because you can eat the bread even though it's not, even if it's not toasted. That's Igros Moshe. However, Yeshom Achel Kemem Shechai B'Tefillah. Those that differ and say that you do need to tevel it. We don't really follow this leniency and say you don't have to tevel such a thing. Nunvav im nochas leishtamish b'kli v'yefshalat bilay. If one does need to use a vessel, and it's not possible to tevel it, like the example we gave before, if it has an electronic motherboard, it's going to get ruined. It's not going to work. So what do? One could give the vessel gifted to a non-Jew who's not part of your family. The Matana Gemara has a complete gift. The Yoshav Yishalena b'Chazar, and then borrow it back from them. Because then one could use this vessel forever, like using a vessel that belongs to a non-Jew, as long as you make sure it stays kosher, which you are. You should discuss with a Rav of how to handle that situation. So this is something that's permissible. B'shas hadchak. Shas hadchak means when in a case of duress, we don't really have any other good choices. That's something that could be done. Any questions? I think this is the story I told you last week about the vessels, where they came back. Last year's vessels came back to the ocean. I think it happened with Reb Sadia Goin. I remember the name. I think it was Reb Sadia Goin. Okay. Now we're going to get to Perek Shmini that discusses the laws of koshering vessels. I want to give a little bit of an introduction before we actually take as we use in today's lingo, the deep dive into the subject. Tevilas Kelim. It's interesting. The word hachshara comes from the same root word as kasher. When you kasher a vessel, you make it fit for use. Kosher means fit. Right? Kosher food means fit for consumption. A kosher vessel means a vessel is fit for usage. So Tevilas Kelim, the laws of koshering vessels, are learned out from the story with Klei Midyan, the vessels from the Midianites where the Jews got to lose. There are a few recurring principles that are employed that we're going to be discussing and learning, and therefore I'd like to just give a little bit of introduction and talk about them. We have what's known as the like-to-like principle. The way in which something gets absorbed, that's how it can get purged. There are a few ways that taste can get absorbed into a vessel. For example, if I leave milk in a metal vessel, sitting idle, not moving it at all, for 24 hours, there's going to be a cold absorption of the milk into the walls of this pot that it's sitting in. That's called kavush. That's a cold form of absorption. A hot form of absorption would be, let's say I have a boiling pot and I boil milk inside the pot, and the pot's now going to absorb the taste of milk through a hot liquid process. And then the third classical form of absorption would be directly with fire. Let's say I have a spit that's used for barbecuing, and I have fire under it, and I'm cooking a chicken. So this particular spit for the barbecue absorbs directly from fire, not through the medium of liquid, of water. So the like-to-like principle would dictate and say that in order to kosherize a vessel, we have to use the same force of heat that it absorbs from to purge from. So an example of the barbecue spit, if you have live fire, it's absorbing taste of meat. To kosher that, I'd have to have live fire there. Couldn't kosher it with boiling water under ordinary circumstances. And if I have something that's absorbed through boiling water, I couldn't kosher it just by letting some liquid water sitting in it for 24 hours times 3 times, which would be a total of 72 hours, or even pouring boiling water over it wouldn't suffice because I'm not getting the same amount of absorption heat that I had by the absorption itself, right? After the same amount of heat, the way it absorbs, that's how it can purge. So that's the general principle. And now, we're going to quote the psukim, and psukim speak about the different types of metals. Kosu b'Torah HaKadosh, it says in our holy Torah, Vayomer Elazar HaKohen el Anshe Hatzava, Elazar the priest said to the men of the assembly, Habarim LaMelchama, that are coming from war, Zeis Chukas HaTorah Asher Tziva Hashem es Moshe. This is the same psukim we had actually in the previous subject, but there was a hint. These psukim also give a hint of the laws of Tevilas Kelim, but the main thrust of what they're saying is actually about kashering vessels. So this is the statue of the Torah that Hashem commanded Moshe. Achas azav, the gold, as a kosef, silver, as a nechoish, as the copper, as a barzel, the lead, the iron, as a bedil, the lead, as a forest in the tin. So these are 6 types of metals that the Torah just mentioned. Anything that gets absorbed through fire gets purged through fire. That's a like principle. It becomes pure. We'll learn about later what that means. Anything that doesn't get absorbed through fire can get absorbed and get purged through water. If it's an earthenware vessel that became not kosher, it has to be destroyed. You cannot kosher an earthenware vessel because it doesn't get, the taste doesn't leave it. If it's a metal vessel, you cook in it and then you rinse it out. Perek Aleph. We explained in the 7th perek. The Torah says we're not allowed to use vessels that we use for prohibited substances without first kashering the vessels. What's the reason for this? Hatam, because when something forbidden gets cooked in the vessel, the taste from the forbidden substance gets into the walls of the vessel. Then if I'm going to cook a kosher food in this vessel, the vessel is going to give off the forbidden taste, the kosher to the kosher food. Someone's going to eat that kosher food, is also going to eat the forbidden taste. The Torah says you're not allowed to eat kosher food that has a forbidden taste. Meaning to say, the Torah is telling us that the vessels themselves that we use to prepare our food with also have to be kosher. Now, from the way the Torah writes these words, the rabbis will derive, you can use fire to kasher something that gets absorbed through fire. And you can use water to kasher something that gets absorbed through water. Again, the like-to-like principle. Like a barbecue grill, right? So the racks themselves have to get eish mamish, have to be burned out with fire. You kash them through fire themselves mamish. A vessel that you cook boiling water in them, you kash them through agola. Through boiling water. A vessel that came absorbed through cold process. You kash them through rinsing them in cold water. We have the following principle that the rabbis gave us. The way something gets absorbed, that's how it gets purged. The way in which the vessel absorbs the isser, the same way it purges the isser as well. Any questions?
It always has to be like if it's
You can kasher a vessel that gets absorbed in an easier fashion using a harder process. So if it only got absorbed with water, for example, right, I can kasher with fire because it's going to rid it of what it is. But I can't use an easier process for a kashering that's necessary for a harder process. I can't use boiling water for something that needs to be kasher with fire.
Also, I was wondering if something becomes treif because a non-Jew used it, is there like a specific way, or it's also like that? Depends how.
We learned earlier in the subject of Bishul Akum that there are two opinions whether or not Bishul Akum makes the vessel not kosher. The first opinion, the main opinion, says it does. There's an opinion that says it does not. We follow the opinion that says it does make it not kosher, that we have to kosherize the vessel. But you can kosherize it. There are some leniencies in how it could be kosherized, but yes, it could be kosher. Okay, now the next halacha and dalet is going to talk about the functionality, what actually happens through the libun process and through the hagala process. There's three types of hechsher libun, kashing through libun, hechsher hagala, kashing through hagala, hechsher hadachan, kashing through rinsing. And they're different in their functionality and in the way in which they operate. Hechsher libun, kashing something through libun, humasha ish soidef es tama ister v'mekayme b'dafnagli. It's an actual burning up process. The fire burns up any taste that's in the walls. The fire doesn't take out the taste. It burns it over there. Hechsher hagala, kashing through hagala. It affects that the boiling water take out the forbidden taste that's in the vessel into the water. Hechsher hadacha, kashering through rinsing, nasai de shifshuf hakli v'adachosei. It comes about through rinsing the vessel. Shashifshuf menakes haklil mikol lichlach v'shuman isra davakoy. It's a form of cleaning the vessel. You yishtamish b'kli machamin v'leiniv da'isur tichtaf nakli elenid b'kolav. Because one didn't use the vessel was hot. Therefore, one rinses it to remove anything that's stuck over there. Then one rinses it in water. Those are the three processes. Now, klicheres, we said before, is an earthenware vessel. Those could not be kasher. Now we're on the top of page Kuf Yud Zayin. Ish amna mesug kli sheyef shalach shirai uklicheres. Shleibatera cost of klicheres shadivusha by yishaver. A klicheres that was cooked in it we should break. Yes, klicheres and it's pashed by besar kodesh or nivle by tama kodesh. A klicheres that was used to cook meat from sanctified meat that we're not allowed to benefit from. The kiven shavas manachils hakadashim, since the time of eating the holy, the kodshim has passed, so a shavar has to be broken. So we are sure that if there was an opportunity and a way to kasher klichedes, the Torah would not tell us they have to break it. The Torah tells us that a klicheres never leaves the walls. The taste never leaves the walls. It's very porous, ever. And that's why we cannot kasher klicheres. What about a vessel made out of aluminum, or made out of wood, or stone? Other types of vessels. Kli eitz, kli even, a wooden vessel, or a stone vessel, shar kelim, the Torah doesn't actually specify. Then you have to bakashing them. Omnam das reba poskim, most poskim say, kli eitz, even, a wooden vessel and a stone vessel, yesh lahem hechsher, it could be kashed. V'dinun demel l'din kli matechas. The din is similar to that of a metal vessel. Gam kli aluminum, also an aluminum vessel, din is shav l'din shar kli matechas, also similar to the other types of metals, then hechsher regarding kashing them. conqueror story. The known thing that is actually a sefer the Rebbe plainly that a person who's involved in business sees hashgacha pratis more than a person who's sitting on the tent of Torah. Because the person's involved in business sees how this one meets that one. You see a lot of activity. So they're seeing how God's divine providence, and how God has a hand in everything and directing everything more clearly, more vividly. There's a rule in the world of kashrus, when we give aksherim, is that a factory that we're giving action to, we have to have what's called unfettered access. We have to be able to access the factory anytime we want while the factory is in operation. To be able to provide that element of sense of accountability, that we can come at any time, so they're going to feel a sense of presence, and for the sake of the kashrus, it's very important. So we had a factory that operated 24 hours a day. They would produce product, they would take product for a customer of ours, they would work it, they would dry it, and then send off to another customer. So we had a mashkiach going in there, would be kasher. And so the company was ended up being sold. It was bought up by a new company, and the new owner decided that he doesn't want to allow the rabbi to come at odd hours. He can only come during regular working hours because he says the main manager is not on the shift. Well, he had his reasons. So I told the representative, I said, look, we need to be able to come anytime you're in operation. The rabbi's going to follow whatever rules you have and everything, but we need to be able to come. So he said to me, Rabbi, you're making up new rules on me. I said, we've been doing this actually under the previous owners for years. Since you make up new rules on me, I said, I'm not. I can prove to you. I said, Rabbi used to come in under the previous owners, would come at 10 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, at an odd hour. Would come during the day as well, but it was staggered. So the person said to me, Rabbi, prove it to me. So I said, no problem. I had my secretary run a report. She put together a report of 10 years of visits. Visited, probably visited on average, like maybe, I don't know, 20 times a year. A bunch of reports were put together. And we just selected the ones that showed the rabbi would come on odd hours. Yes, and we sent it to the customer. Came back to me, he brought it to his boss. He said to me, okay, Rabbi, you won the argument. The boss said you can come anytime you want. But he says, well, he's going to treat you like a private contractor. So what does that mean? He says, you have to come in with the hard hats, you have to come in with safety glasses and a lab coat. And I thought to myself, the spiritual battle of being able to come in anytime I want, which is for the kashrus, we want. To bring all these other things is get a hard hat, get a lab coat and glasses, what's going to cost $100 or something. I didn't think it's such a big deal. I said, okay, I'll figure it out. Give me a week or two, I'll figure it out. And I said, where can you buy it? He says, you can buy it on Uline. Turns out I already owned steel-toed shoes, which is another requirement, so it wasn't an issue. Anyway, that's what happened. This story happened to me on I think it was a Tuesday. And I only knew about this issue, over the last 2 weeks. I had a visit scheduled well in advance of that, like a month earlier, to a chemical facility in the upstate region. And I did my visit there, and the owner of the representative of the company said to me in his own words, he said, Rabbi, we just had a visit from corporate and had to buy 80 new hard hats, because when you go into the actual processing area, you have to wear hard hats, and 80 new hard hats and safety glasses. And they said, they only come once in 10 years. I didn't know what to do with all these. So I donated half of them to the local high school. So I said to the fellow, I said, listen, I said, Mark, I said, we don't ask our customers for anything free, but if you're giving it away anyways, I have a customer of mine who's driving me crazy, tell me I have to come with my own hard hat. My rabbi has to come with my own hard hat. I said, sure, what are you talking about, Rabbi? He gives them to me with safety glasses. And I was reflecting on this. We know the Torah teaches us that Hashem answers us before we even call. Before I even knew I had this issue, Hashem arranged for me to go to this factory, and this situation unfolded. We have, so we see Hashgacha Pratis in it very, very vividly. Yeah. Okay.
What's the question?
Yeah.
Is it beneficial for these companies to have rabbis come? Like I'm assuming it's non-Jewish.
Yeah, they want to be able to sell product to their customers, and the customers are certified kosher, so they
they do it.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more halacha. Gumi or plastic? That's rubber or plastic. So we have new materials today. They didn't have them in times of Chazal. The question is, how do we actually approach these new materials? What do we classify them as? Can you kasha them? Can you not kasha them? Today's day and age where they have new materials, right? But they didn't have them in the times of Chazal. So what's the halacha? We don't have a Kabbalah from the Paskim about it. Some say you shouldn't kasha these things because we don't have a source. I'll give many Paskim say you could kasha them. Just like we kasha metal. If there's a concern that the vessel will get ruined through the heat of the water, also you're not allowed to kasher it. Because we're afraid that you're not going to do a good job. Okay. So in other words, any vessel that we're afraid is going to break, you can't kasher because we're afraid you're not going to do a good job. Some say you can kasher the plastic and the rubber for year-round use, but we don't kasher it for Pesach. Therefore, you shouldn't kasher for Pesach. Because one can easily buy new ones. But other kind of isurim, derech mashal, in kli chol misham chabas. Let's say you had a dairy vessel was used for meat, so that's a year-round use issue. Mutar lachshir b'makom hefsed muat. Once a lot of kasher them, there's a small loss at play. There was a yid. What's the right time? So, let the alarm. We have a good Shabbos. How do I turn this on? Meeting.